amazing. We're all sitting here tonight together, alive, breathing in and out in these magnificent, beautiful, and mysterious bodies. Bodies that digest food and send nutrients where they need to go without us even thinking about it. Bodies that feel the weight and warmth of the clothing on our skin. Bodies that through our lenses and our gelatinous eyeballs capture images and send those images through our brain, through the circuitry of the neurological web that we are in our gray matter, and translates what we're seeing into meaning. We're amazing. We are so incredible. And yet, what if there was more to us than what we know right now? What if we had hidden talents, genius, beauty in us that we had no idea existed? What if we missed that? What if we were to die and not realize our potential? That almost happened to me, but it didn't. And the reason I'm here tonight is because I don't want it to happen to anyone. We are here for a brief time, a very short period. And if we don't stop and open ourselves up to the possibility of what is in us, we will never know what we may have missed. I have a story to tell you. It has two parts. They both started in 2009. The first was a surgery I had following a dislocated hip. I had had 2 hips replaced. One of them dislocated twice, once while in the bar of a second-floor restaurant, and the waiter and the head chef had to carry me down the stairs so I could go to the hospital, where the emergency room doctor wrapped a sheet around my leg and yanked my hip back into place. It worked, but it wasn't the preferred way of going about business, so they did another surgery. The surgery they did was fine for a few days, and then I developed a staph infection at the site of the incision. I don't know if any of you have ever had a staph infection, but it's not good. They go back in, they treat it very aggressively. They go back, do another surgery, remove the prosthesis, clean everything out, flush you with antibiotics, and replace the prosthesis again. It's pretty serious business. You don't want to have a staph infection. Because what they do then is they put a PICC line in your arm and fill you with antibiotics, intravenous antibiotics that travel through your body, in my case, for months. I had a visiting nurse that came regularly to visit me. I had my own walker. I had a basket on my walker. I was trapped at home, and I don't like being trapped. At this time, one of my 2 artist sisters came to stay with me while I recovered. And she brought with her canvases, brushes, oil paints. 2 of my sisters are artists. My father was an artist. He had recently passed away, and she brought some of his supplies. And she said to me, "We're going to paint." You know, I had no choice, really. I was just going to do whatever she said. So I did. It was early summer. The peonies in the garden were in full bloom. Fuchsia pink, you know, they're gorgeous, heady with aroma, beautiful. She went out and picked the flowers, brought them in. We sat on my front porch, me with my walker, her with her tea. And she said, "Now, look at the flowers and paint what you see." So I said, "Okay." And this is what I painted. I thought it was pretty good. My first painting. Visiting nurse thought it was good. My sister thought it was good. My husband thought it was good. So what happened to me in that moment was amazing. Something went off in my head. Something blew up in the part of the brain that recognizes pleasure and desire. I felt something I hadn't felt before. I felt a possibility of doing something that I didn't know I could do. I started painting, studying. I took classes. I studied with my sisters. I studied with artists. And I paint every day. And now my peonies look like this. I didn't know I could do that. I had no idea. Fortunately, I had that nice staph infection. My sister came to visit. She brought, It worked out perfectly. I could have missed that. I could have missed that opportunity, and I didn't. I was able to harness that particular part of me that had been stuck and trapped inside my body, inside my being. And I could have died. I mean, I was pretty old at that point. I could have died without knowing that. I continued painting. This is my first landscape painting. When you paint, something that happens to me, and I think to other artists, is that you see things differently. You see things through a lens that you didn't realize you had. I always thought I was observant, but not really. I didn't really look at things. I didn't look at the colors in the clouds. I didn't look at the shadows on the grass in the way that I do now. I didn't realize that every 15 minutes when the sun is out, the shadows change. I saw life so differently. What would have happened if I had died and missed that? We work so hard at living. We get up in the morning, we hit the ground running, we go to work to get money, to buy sneakers for the kids, send them to college, we take classes, we study. We're constantly working. And when we work, we close ourselves up, not intentionally, but we get tight. We look just right in front of us. We look at where we need to go next. And in closing ourselves up, we don't give ourselves that space and room for possibility. I really believe this, and I don't want it to happen to you. What I suggest is that you take a breath, that you take a break and give yourselves a chance to be open, a chance for that beauty inside of you to find a way out, a chance to discover something that you've always been interested in but maybe never took the time to do. Give something a try. You can only win. There's no failure. The older I get, the less I'm afraid of failure. So I paint now with sort of reckless abandon. I have a studio at home, and the windows, I have doors to the porch. The windows are covered with spattered paint, and every couple weeks my husband goes out and scrapes the paint off. And I apologize. I'm sorry I did that. However, it's because I am not afraid of making mistakes. I paint with the desire and the love for what I'm doing with reckless abandon, and it works. It absolutely works. So what I'm going to suggest that you do is that you go to your kitchen window and you look out the window, or any window, and you stand there and breathe. And you look at the colors in the clouds. You look at every tree until you've seen all of them. You look at the birds landing on the feeder and realize that they have feathers that are calculated for flight and comfort and beauty, and they are beyond your imagination. They're gorgeous. And you stand there and breathe and take it in and open yourselves up and forgive yourself for what you didn't do today or what didn't go well. And don't worry about tomorrow. You're going to get there. It will get done. Just take that time. And then, when you're making dinner, chop the garlic very, very finely. Chop it until it is just fine, fine grains. And savor the smell. Crush the tomatoes with a wooden spoon. Stir them together. Add the rosemary, even if the recipe doesn't call for it. And embrace that moment and let yourself be. And think about what you love and what you've always wanted to try and never did because you were too busy living life. The place where the sky meets the ocean is a place of undeniable mystery and beauty. And if you take the time to really stop and look at that, you will be filled with a sense of wonder and imagination. And if you paint it, it might look like that. Don't work so hard at life that you miss living. I almost did, but I didn't, just in the nick of time. And I hope you don't either. Find your artistry, find your artery deep inside of you, and live your life. Don't be afraid. Take a chance. Thank you.